Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I'll sing. Yeah. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We'll be having a Bhagavad Gita class just now. We appreciate your kind attention. uh, um, Before we give class, we like to sing one very, very famous bhajan. Is it on? Okay. I don't know how to work so much. It's a famous song by Bhaktivedanta Thakur called Jaya Radha Madhava. Prabhupada is very, very fond of this bhajan. So we'll sing briefly, then we'll give class from Bhagavad Gita. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Damunatira Vanachari Namunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Damunatira Vanachari Damunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Goranitai, 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 Jai Goranitai. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So now we'll hopefully read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 39. So I don't know what the system of devotees normally do responsibly. Yeah, you have so the text before you, or what to do? Maybe you should have excellent quality of hearing, simply from hearing me. So this is 439. Okay, we'll try once. If it doesn't work, I'll just do it myself. Shradavallabhate jnanam Tadpara samitendriya Jnanam ladva param shantim Acchirenadi gacchati Shradavallabhate jnanam Tadpara samitendriya Jnanam ladva param shantim Acchirenadi gacchati. You can do it on your own? Okay. We'll do word for word. Shadavan. A faithful man. There's one song, isn't it? Shadavan Jana, Shadavan Jana, Nadiya Godrumen. Lavate achieves Jnanam, knowledge, Tatparaha, very much attached to it. Sangita, controlled indriya, senses, jnanam, knowledge, labdva, having achieved, param, transcendental, shantim, peace, achirena, very soon, adigachati, attains. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Please repeat. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Purport. Such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Om Jnanatamranandasya Gananjana Sharakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhanepacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So, thank you, dear devotees, for your attendance here. I humbly seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas that we may be able to speak something for the pleasure of their lordships, something that is chaste to what Srila Prabhupada has given in his purports, and also something which is relevant and useful in our own spiritual lives. Primarily I speak here for my own purification, that I pray I may actually be able to become the first listener. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita is an incredible text, because we see there's many different texts of religion and faith throughout the world, and oftentimes people they think that they're in conflict with each other. This book says this book says this person is God, this book says this person is God, so let us argue about it. Whereas what we get from the Vedic conclusion, we have to understand Bhagavad Gita is known as Gita Upanishad, or the cream of all the Vedic scriptures, is the essence. Vyasadeva, when he was compiling the Mahabharata, for those who are not able to properly understand and study the four Vedas, which very few people are able to do so, considering how short our lifespans are and how it's often afflicted our intelligence is. Compiled the Mahabharata and placed the Bhagavad Gita in the center. And ultimately, if we can actually properly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, then we're doing very well in our spiritual life. So these different books of faith throughout the world, they may appear to be in conflict. But what Bhagavad Gita does, the Vedic conclusion, is gives a higher level of realization, whereby we can see different personalities are acting upon different levels of faith. Just as if we have to instruct different people according to their ability, we will give seemingly sometimes different instructions. Now you may tell a child, yes, eat these vegetables which are on your plate, because then eat these vegetables and then you can play computer games. This is something maybe parents, they tell their child. Like, do you ever tell your child, what's your son's name? Shri. Shri, do you like to eat vegetables? Yeah? Okay, he's a good child. But I imagine sometimes there's some things that your parents cook nice food for you and it just doesn't look so appetizing. So the parents might do, they might say, they give a little incentive. They say, do this, and you'll get a nice reward. And the opposite side is, if you do not do this, very bad things will happen to you. And so if one has limited intelligence, they may think that, okay, the purpose of eating broccoli is to play on a computer. You put two and two together, and this is limited. It's good in one sense because it encourages us to eat healthily, but we don't have full knowledge of why it is that we're acting in that way. And so similarly, someone thinks the purpose of eating vegetables is to not get punished. But similarly, limited knowledge. And so we have to get deeper. And so what the Vedic scriptures, they're there for everybody. Many people come with many material desires. They say, well, if you want to have a nice wife or a nice job or a nice house, you can do this nice ceremony. You know, you can offer shraddha or you can perform some yagya, etc. And this is there. But ultimately, we have to come to the higher level of realization, which is understanding that that Krishna is actually the ultimate enjoyer of all yagas. The goal of the Vedas, the goal of the scriptures is for us to develop pure unalloyed devotion towards Krishna. Anya balasita shunyam jnana karma janavritam, without any tinge of this desire for karma, for some material reward. So it's so ingrained that I want some material reward for the way I'm acting, or any tinge of jnana, this desire to philosophical speculation, ultimately sort of just get free from all our troubles. Spiritual life is not getting about free from our troubles. It's simply becoming anxious to serve Krishna. Now this conception, oftentimes we speak to people about one, perhaps we're trying to get them to take Prabhupada's books. It's about meditation. It gets you free from stress, free from anxiety. It's very attractive. But this is actually a lie. Spiritual life is not free from anxiety. We hear when Krishna's coming back from the forest, he's been out all day playing with the cowherd boys. And Mother Yashoda, she sees that the dust is raising in the distance. She knows that Krishna's coming back with the cows. You think she's peaceful. Think sitting there, no, she's running around hectic, saying, well, we need to get everything ready. Krishna's coming back. Quick, get the tray. We're going to do arti. We need to cook this nice thing. She's very stressed. Spiritual life is transcendental anxiety. So back to this point, the Bhagavad Gita is giving us a higher understanding of why it is we perform certain acts, and it's according to our level of faith is how deep we can get in spiritual life. So if you hang around a temple for a little while, I've not been around so long, but still long enough that I see that a lot of people come and go. You know, very quickly, many people, they go, this is nice, I like this. Well, not so keen. And then they go. Or people come and then something happens. This person said this to me. I didn't get enough food. Or whatever it is, some difficulty and then gone. Because ultimately their faith is on the surface. And when our faith is on the surface, we do not have the ability to penetrate deeply into what the essence of all it is about. Krishna describes in the Gita that there's 4 types of people, pious people who approach him. He says, Chaturvidi bhajanti mam, jnana karma, jnana, what is it called? Arta artati jigyasya, jnani cha paratarshaba. That many people didn't come to Krishna. Maybe they want something, I want a nice house, or maybe they're distressed and they want to get relief from suffering, or they want some knowledge, etc., not to know about mystic abilities. And this is fine, but ultimately, in order to stay long-term in Krishna consciousness, we simply want to develop love. This is the goal. And actually, if you come to Krishna consciousness full of other desires, other agendas, then you can never actually be happy in Krishna consciousness. It's very interesting. It's said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that some people, the only people who can actually be peaceful is the devotee of Krishna, because he has no desires apart from to serve Krishna. Whereas when anyone else has some desire for making a nice material situation, they have some desire for developing some mystic abilities, or they have some desire simply to gain moksha, this freedom, always the desire causes some anxiety. And And therefore the real happiness is simply to desire the pleasure of Krishna. So the question for us is maybe we come to the temple, we find some attraction, we like it here, we like the devotees, we like the prasadam, we like to take darshan of the deities. But the question is, how deep are we willing to go? Because Krishna consciousness, can I let you into a secret? Krishna consciousness is very dangerous. There's one of our great teachers, Rupa Goswami, there's a great acharya, and he made one beautiful prayer. He says, Smeram bangi triyapratitam satchipatirna trishtam Vamsinyasthadara kishalayam ujjulam chandrakenu Govindakyam hritanamita keshiktirtopakante Ma prexistas tavaidiste keshiktirtopakante. That my dear friends, he's saying, if you have any desire to simply enjoy this material life with your material friends, then do not do one thing. Do not do one thing. It is very, very dangerous. Do not look upon the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands in his three-folded bended, three-bended posture, playing his flute. His body appears very effulgent in the moonlight. He's saying, my dear friends, do not look upon this face. Because when you look upon the face of Lord Govinda, then the attraction is there. Slowly you'll be unable to enjoy your material association, unable to enjoy your worldly friends. And so we have to be careful. If we come to Krishna consciousness and we keep a strong hold of this desire for our own enjoyment, this strong hold of how can I make my material situation nice? How can I get respected by those people around me? If we have this desire, then Krishna remains distant from us. Because ultimately, Krishna knows if I reveal myself to this person, that desire will go away. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan ki. And in this way, Krishna, he's given us free will. Now, Krishna is all attractive. And so if you wake up one morning, who here did chant japa on beads? Anyone has tried to chant on beads? Have you tried to chant? One day you can say, we can. You've tried to chant on the beads sometimes? Yeah. So it's a very, very good process. And it's said, when you chant Hare Krishna on the beads, or even off the beads when you dance, anything, Krishna is on your tongue. And he's dancing on your tongue. Imagine that. Krishna's on your tongue. And it's said, like, may I ask, what's your name? You there in the middle. What's your name? Tanvi. Okay. So if someone comes along and says Tanvi, then you're not there. So I think if you're in the other room and I say Tanvi, you're not here. But Krishna, because Krishna is the supreme person, when someone says Krishna, Krishna's there. Krishna's not different from his name. But we don't always have the ability to see it. Because ultimately, if Krishna knows, well, if I just simply show myself to this person, they're not going to be able to enjoy this material world. And so he keeps a distance until he knows this person only wants me. And when we have this purity, then it's described again, Rupa Goswami prays that when I chant Hare Krishna, that I wish I had thousands of tongues. And I wish I had thousands of ears. Because the more he chants, the more he's with Krishna. And he wants to be with Krishna. And, if you think about the favorite, like, is this your sister beside? No? Your friend? Yeah. What's your name? Hatsika. Okay. What's your favorite food? Yes. Pizza. Okay. So how much pizza do you like? Yeah, but how many slices do you like? So 4, okay. So 4 is nice. What if someone says, you like pizza? Okay, I'm going to give you 400, and you have to eat all of them. I think you will not like pizza anymore after that. It's like this. You take something very nice, the nicest sweet, nice smell, or being with nice people, and you do it for a long period of time, no longer do you like it so much. But Krishna is the opposite. The more time you spend with Krishna, the more time you want to spend with him. And then any time we're away from Krishna, it's described, Lord Chaitanya says, Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravasaitam sunyaitam jagat sarvam Govinda viraheneme. Govinda, 1 moment separation feels like 12 years. Can you imagine? 1 moment where Govinda is not there, it feels like 12 years. Because that's how much he wants to be with Krishna. And the more you're with Krishna, the more you want to be with Krishna. But also there's a special sweetness which comes, it's described from when Krishna is separate. The very exalted devotees, they say, when Krishna, you're before me, I can simply see one Krishna. Just one Krishna. But Krishna, when you're away, everywhere I look, I see Krishna. Because they're always thinking of Krishna. There's one example, like Mataji, is this your daughter? Okay, so naturally there's lots of love between the mother and the daughter. And say, for instance, the daughter is away. Maybe you go for a sleepover at a friend's house, and the mother's, I don't like it when my daughter's not here. This is natural for mothers to think like this. And so naturally she'll be thinking of you, and perhaps she sees by the door is your shoes. She sees your shoes. Now your shoes are not you. Your shoes are different from you, but as soon as she sees the shoes, then she thinks of you. So similarly for the devotee, when the devotee develops love for Krishna, now this love in the material world is often covered over. You say, I love you, but don't upset me, or, Whereas love actually means completely unconditional, that whatever you do, I'm surrendered to you. And devotees have such intense love for Krishna, then everything they see, they relate it to Krishna. So it's described have you heard of Vrindavan? So Vrindavan is where Krishna took birth, the most sacred place. Well, he didn't take birth, he took him birth in Mathura actually. But it's where he grew up. Had all his fun activities with his cowherd boyfriends, and they were raising the cows and the gopis and everything. And sometimes he was with some devotees, and then he was gone. And it's described some of the devotees, he saw that, because Krishna has his complexion is slightly darkish. It's got a blue tinge as well. It's like a monsoon cloud. And so they couldn't see Krishna. And they're very distraught, but then they saw these tamal trees, which have a sort of darkish, bluish tinge. It looks like Krishna. And they were hugging the trees, because it thinks of Krishna. And so they see Krishna everywhere. And so actually, it's described that, do you want to know a secret? Everybody in the material world, they're a little bit mad. A bit crazy. They walk around, they work very hard. They work very hard in a job so they can get money, so that they can live in a house, so that they can then drive to their job, to work very hard, to get money, to live in a house. And they're not happy when they do it. I think it was the Dalai Lama, one Buddhist, he said the most ridiculous thing is people, they sacrifice their health to make money. So they work so hard that they ruin their body, they ruin their health, simply to make money. And then they have to spend all their money they're made to simply try and get their health back. So this way, it's just a waste of time. So most people like this are mad, crazy. And when you practice devotional service, when you start chanting Hare Krishna, when you start worshipping the deity, when you start trying to become a devotee of Krishna, then you become sane, you become normal. This is just the beginning. First you go from mad, then you go to sane, and then again the goal is to become mad. But we become mad in love for God. And it's funny, you see many people of different faiths, they talk about, yes, God, I love, I believe in God, but they don't have love for God. Love means to be completely bewildered, completely intoxicated, not aware of what's going on so much round about you. If you completely love someone, then it doesn't matter so much about everything that's going on around about here. So that's what this verse is about. This verse is about developing faith. Ultimately, getting deep, getting very, very deep. So there are some processes of faith which are described in this purport. It said, this faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service. So ultimately, love comes through service. Love is service. You cannot claim to love someone and do nothing about it. Naturally, if you love someone, the expression of love is to serve. And therefore, I've heard one phrase that often in the West, the man marries the woman he loves, whereas in the East, the man or the woman that loves the man she marries. This idea that actually by being engaged in service, then the love comes. So similarly, when we engage in service to Krishna, then the love manifests in our heart. Just like we see, there's this symptom, oftentimes a mother is pregnant, and for 9 months she's been carrying this child in her womb. And you hear so much that, particularly, now the culture is, this child will bring you so much joy, it'll be the love of your life. You'll have such a loving relationship with this child. It'll be so dear to you. And the mother is meditating upon this, and for 9 months she's carrying around a baby. And eventually she gives birth. And then after she's given birth, there's this phenomena where the mother doesn't actually feel so much love. And there's a whole science of they call postnatal depression, etc. Because ultimately the mother, there's other reasons there, but the mother, she's not feeling this love which has been described. But ultimately when the mother begins to serve the child, because even if the mother doesn't feel the love, still she will serve the child. The child is crying for milk, she'll give the child milk, she'll feed the child, she'll chain the child. By that service, then the love manifests. The love is in the heart, but by the act of service it manifests. And ultimately, the purport of chanting Hare Krishna is begging to be engaged in service. And this is the goal, and by being engaged in service, then we develop love, and developing love, we want to be engaged in more service. But this comes through the mercy of the devotees. There's one purport Prabhupada writes, by the mercy of the devotees, we get the grace of the Lord. And by the grace of the Lord, we get engaged in the service of the devotees. Cycle like this. Everything starts with the mercy of the devotees. But we receive the mercy, and then it's our impetus. We develop some faith, but how deep are we going to take that faith? How deep are we willing to swim in the ocean? The ocean is unlimited. You can only go so deep. But still if we want to stay around, if we actually want to develop the fruits of bhakti, said, Brahmandi Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Bija. We've been wandering around this material universe for lifetime upon lifetime, and by the mercy of the spiritual master and by Krishna, we get the seed of bhakti. Now, a seed is different from a fruit. A fruit you can eat, a fruit is sweet, a fruit you can relish, and a fruit has many, many seeds inside of it. A seed on its own doesn't have much value. But if the seed is cultured and is nourished by the process of hearing and chanting, it develops into a creeper, and that creeper emerges, and eventually the fruit is there. And the fruit is pure love of God. So we have to have some discrimination. We have to look around and see, well, many people come, many people go. Many people get a taste for devotional service and do not stay. And we have to question why it is that some people do not stay. They're simply happy to visit regularly, to be on the outskirts, but not fully immerse themselves in the process of devotional service. And we have to be spiritually greedy and think, these people be not, but what can I do to ensure that ultimately I receive that fruit, pure love of Godhead? Because ultimately, Prabhupada told Mahan that this is the goal of life. There is nothing else which is actually worth striving for. Anything else, simply if it's subsidiary to love of Godhead, then it can be accepted. can accept what's favorable. Anything else, simply reject. And we have to have this personal conviction that what is necessary, then we will do to develop this love. And so we have to see how we can develop this faith. Shraddha, the word faith, is used here. The etymology means to put our heart into something. Slowly we've lost enough faith in material life that it can bring us happiness to start to inquire about spiritual life, to start to engage the process. But it has to get deep. It has to get deep. How does this get deep? Described there's different levels of devotees. The first, the Prakrita Bhakta, the Kanishta Adhikari, is unsteady. And he's described as a Prakrita Bhakta. He's engaged in the material aspects of devotional service. He can see the deity in the temple, but he cannot see the deity outside the temple. Krishna is in the temple, yes, but I cannot see Krishna in another person. I cannot see Krishna. How everything is Krishna's energy. Everything is related to Krishna. And so his vision is limited. And we have to understand where we are at in devotional service. We have to use our intelligence by the association of devotees, understand where we're at, because different processes are recommended at different times of one's spiritual life, of one's spiritual advancement. And for the Kanishta Adhikari, worship of the deity is very, 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 very beneficial. But also, in Kali Yuga, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the process of Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, is recommended, is the Yuga Dharma, is a recommended process for developing love of God. And Harinam Sankirtan is very, very, is very great because it very quickly elevates you, at least for the time when you're engaged in it, into a higher platform of faith. It's very interesting. If one ever goes out on book distribution is very, very dear to Prabhupada. And ultimately all devotees are engaged who like to think of themselves as Hare Krishnas, are engaged in the process, in the Hare Krishna movement, then they should try book distribution. It's this is a movement that grew up in the streets, and we have a duty to at least experience that. And when we're on book distribution, then although we may be a Kanishta Adhikari, although we may not be able to see Krishna within everybody, we may just see Krishna in the temple, still the symptoms of a Majjhima Adhikari, the one who's a level up, is that he can distinguish between who is friendly, who's a devotee, who is innocent, who's demonic, and he can see Krishna's hand everywhere. And it's like this: as soon as you go on book distribution with a sincere desire to distribute books, then you'll notice you develop sometimes an ability to distinguish who is ready, who is innocent, who's a devotee, and who should you avoid. So you begin to get the vision of a Majjhima Adhikari. And you see Krishna's hand very clearly. When you're engaged in frontline preaching, when you're really pushed at the boundaries. Many of us like to be comfortable in devotional life. Yes, I'll do this, I won't do this, I'll do this is too much. But when you push yourself, there has to be an intensity. Tivrena Bhakti Yogana, there has to be an intensity in our devotional service. When that is there, when that intensity is there, then we see Krishna's hand. We see how Krishna is making arrangements for us. And then we can actually live in accordance with Krishna's plan. Perhaps we can think of the instrument like a violin. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should become an instrument in the fight. What does it mean to be an instrument? Well, an instrument should sing beautifully. And for a violin to sing beautifully, then the string has to be pulled very tight. So similarly in our devotional service, we have to be pulled tight. We have to be giving everything. Krishna says, "Yayitam mam prapajante tams tataiva bhajamyaham." According to our level of surrender, he reciprocates. So we have to question, what is it that we want? Do we want some comfortable life? And yeah, we like the association of devotees. And yeah, it's nice, Hari Hari Bol, here we'd take some prasad. Or do we want to develop pure love for Godhead? And if the answer is we want to develop love, then we have to appreciate that it requires an intensity of surrender. But with that intensity, Krishna reciprocates, and by that reciprocation, our faith deepens. and then we can attain the supreme spiritual peace. And the opposite, I say to the next verse. This verse is perhaps when I read it, the scariest verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Halloween is coming up soon, I think. It's 1 week to Halloween, so we can give some horror stories, okay? And the next verse says, Sham Shayatma Vinashyati. That here, previously we were talking about the man of faith. In text 40 it's saying, one without faith, Vinashyati, perishes. You do not have faith, cannot last. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness, they fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor the next. But now I start to question, well, I have doubts. What does this mean? It means I'm going to get perished? No, it means we have to address them. That ultimately, Krishna Surya Samamaya Haya Andikar, Yan Krishna Tan Nahi, something. That Krishna is like the sun, and these doubts are like darkness. But they can be addressed. And oftentimes we can look back upon our development of devotional life and see how these different doubts have been there. But then these doubts now, they seem just, how could I have doubted that? It seems very silly. Whereas another thing comes up. But this purport here is very clear. It says, faith is attained by the discharge of devotional service and by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's hearts of all material dirt. So engage in the process of Sankirtan and serve. Then faith and realization comes. It's described, the all-pervading transcendence is situated in acts of sacrifice. The third chapter is described like this. That actually when we engage in some yagya, some real sacrifice for Krishna, then we see him, we get some experience. Perhaps people of different faiths, they say, oh, well, I believe. It's very fair. I believe. This is, I believe. But there's one famous example. Prabhupada, he's gone back to America, and he's got some of the leading GBC sort of leaders of ISKCON. And this is described in the Lilamrita. It's very, very intense. Prabhupada looks at them all. He's in a room like this, all the GBC around him. He's looking at them and he said, so, are you convinced? Just imagine, Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace is staring at you saying, are you convinced? Don't answer. They said 2 minutes, the silence is there, just heavy. Are you convinced? Prabhupada said, this is what preaching means. Preaching means not I believe in this, not I believe in this, and I tell you, preaching means that I am simply describing reality. Devotees ask Prabhupada, how can you be so strongly against the Mayavadis? Why are you so harsh? Prabhupada said, well, they're saying there's no Krishna, and over their shoulder I can see Krishna. And that's Prabhupada's vision. It's not that it's simply a matter of, oh, I believe this, and you believe this, and we can disagree. No, we're describing reality. And so our faith should come to that level. It's not just, oh, I think I'll believe this, it makes me happy. No, we have to be firmly convinced. But this comes about by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of devotees, and by engaging in practical service. Making some sacrifice, some endeavor for Krishna, then he reciprocates. So I humbly pray that devotees can pray that I can also make some sacrifice to please my spiritual master, please Krishna, and develop a smidgen of this faith. Faith comes by association primarily. So perhaps if any devotees so far have some comments or questions they would like to share, any realizations perhaps some devotees have had about how they've seen Krishna in their life and how it's increased their faith. We approach with a motive. This is fine. We can approach with a motive. But to simply stay motivated for material things means that, we were just reading yesterday, the demigods, like Mother Earth, she's very disturbed. There's so many disturbances on the earth, so she approaches the demigods, and then they approach Lord Brahma. And eventually Lord Brahma prays to Krishna, Krishna, please descend and remove the burden of the earth. And then Krishna does this, and then the big battle of Kurukshetra, etc., many millions of warriors are killed. And then eventually Krishna, he wraps up his pastimes. And the demigods approach him and say, Krishna, thank you very much. You're beyond the modes of material nature. Your lotus feet bestow all benedictions. Hearing about you is glorious. Krishna, we love you. Bye. Now gone. That's the mood. Whereas then Uddhava comes along. Now Uddhava is a pure devotee. Uddhava is one of the most intimate associates of Krishna. And he says, where are you going? Can I come with you? That's his mood. So if we approach with material desires, this is fine, but if we simply stay on that platform, when the desires are fulfilled, okay, bye-bye Krishna. And when we practice bhakti, certain things come. Material benedictions, we become more confident, intelligent, we get clean, we become in the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, you can actually see how people are thinking, you can see how the world is operating. And slowly the desire starts to come, well, I now have the ability to actually enjoy the material world more now. Beforehand, I was just getting blown about in this storm, these desires. But now I've learned to control myself. I can actually control other people a little bit. This is there. Maybe develop a little bit of mystic powers, etc. So now let me actually enjoy the world. Now I can do it properly. So bye-bye Krishna. I've taken what I want, and now I'm going to try and enjoy. Or even see people, okay, I'm going to join a religious institution. Oh, it's nice here. Yes, I can get a nice room and they serve me food and everybody respects me and they bow down. And so let me try and enjoy that. But ultimately, Krishna will only put up with it for so long. So the impetus is for, he says in the 7th chapter of the Gita, there's 4 types of people who approach him, but the dearest is one who's actually inquiring about the absolute truth. So we have to come to that platform. And that comes through association. Yes, Srinivas Prabhu is saying that there's one purport in the Adi Lila, chapter 1, chapter 1, 102, where Prabhupada is saying you can pray to Gaur Nitai to remove the 5 types of ignorance. One is to identify with the body. 2 is to think that sense gratification can give enjoyment. 3 is lamentation. 4 is material identification. 5 is seeking something higher than absolute truth. Oh. So, identifying with the material body, thinking that thinking that material sense gratification can give us happiness, thinking there's something higher than the Supreme. So ultimately we've come at a good time of the day because very soon we'll have Gaur Aarti. This is this is where we pray to Lord Chaitanya. Because ultimately without his mercy, without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya's associates, we have no chance. But described when Lord Chaitanya came with the associates of Panchatattva, they inundated the world with love of Godhead. Indiscriminately. Patra vichara nahi nahi sthana sthana, without caring who was qualified and who was qualified. Where's the right place, where's the right time? They were not caring like this. Inundating the world, a flood. And so it's described material enjoyment, the desire to enjoy material things is like a seed. It's always there and it fructifies. But what happens to the seeds when there's a flood? If there's a flood, the seeds, they lose their potency. No longer can they fructify. So the love of Godhead is coming, and it's coming freely. So simply we have to, they are drowning the world in love of Godhead, and so we have to just not try and stay afloat. We have to accept the mercy. And Lord Chaitanya is very, very merciful. And Krishna is seeing the slightest little bit of service. And so the greatest service we can perform in this age, the way to attract Krishna's attention, is no secret. If you come to a Hare Krishna temple, you'll hear about it as soon as you walk in the door. But still again, I'll repeat it because we like to repeat it. The greatest way to attract Krishna's attention, the greatest way to develop faith, the greatest way to develop love, and the ultimate goal of life is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, thank you very much. We'll shortly be having Gaurarti. Is there any last points or questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Nittai Gaur Premanande. Jayo Jaya Gora Chande Adatiko Shobha Kivajayo Kivajayo Jaya Gora Chande Tatabane Jagamana Roba Janavi Tatabane Jagamana Vasajatadara Nikate Advaita Shini
Vasachataram Mose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Simhasa